Chapow, and we let his body slump in the pub garden. How we doing, everybody? I was just listening to some Pate and Bass. We're here for a thoroughly sober talk about, extra rested, not over caffeinated, and completely sober review about spell damage, spell power, and like its conversions, spell power coefficients and their conversions in relation to various spells in the World of Warcraft. So, I come to you naked as the day I was reborn in the grave. You'll have to forgive me, my mouse is broken, I broke the scroll wheel. I'll be getting a new one. I'm just waiting for it to arrive in the... Wait, I should check to make sure that's in the mail. We'll do that in a second. Anyways, we have no gear on. Let's talk spell damage really quick before we engage this Hecklefang Snarler, because he's been heckling and snarling at me. I don't really appreciate it. And on top of that, he said he didn't like my hair. I took that personally. So we've got a fiery ball that causes 85 to 118 damage and an additional 12 damage over 8 seconds. I'm going to throw the first fireball. And we'll just get into what we mean by spell damage here. First spell damage, we roll minimal 85. And we'll go over like in the logs what it does here. And we're going to just fireball through. The guard's going to help me get the kill, I guess, but whatever. That has nothing to do with it. Oh, the combat log needs to get the background we worked. Hold on. So, my actions. You can see the damage that I roll on each of these, right? And I have 85 damage, 87 damage, 98 damage. I don't think it'll tell me, like, the amount it reduces from the mob's natural fire resist, which doesn't appear to be any. I didn't roll below the minimal, however, I never appeared to roll very well either. Now, the final one that hit for 47 was 65. Overkill was closer to the top end, but that's without any spell damage. Let's do it with spell damage to talk about what's going on. And fireball, then we'll get into spell damage coefficients, all that. I don't have any add-ons. I don't use add-ons. It's more, I might. Mostly because it actually impacts other people when I don't raid. When I raid without add-ons, I actually don't find raid bosses, they're not even that hard once you know what they're doing. It's like, yeah, I don't really need it. All right, let's do this. Let's wind up on the Thunderhawk here. 136. 148, just huge, 117, little tiny boy. Now we're looking at we're talking orders of different numbers. That's because I stacked fire damage. And it's fairly obvious, right? But how does this apply to spells outside of Fireball? It applies very well to Fireball and Frostbolt. These are spells that get a massive amount of what's known as like a spell damage coefficient. The spell damage coefficient is how much damage you get on the spell from casting the spell. And I did that so we can then do another experiment. We don't have to take the gear off. We'll just do a flame strike here really quick. 53 to 70. Now, you saw the giant ding-dong numbers that were going on with the last one. Flame Strike is a bit of a different game, but it doesn't get the same spell power values. We got a 70. However, that's not even 1 over the maximum value. Okay. So what's that mean? What's that mean for you and me? That means that not all spells get spell power applied equally. And when you're talking about what you're doing in the game, you have to think about what spells am I casting. I'm talking about this because I saw another mage talking about AoE. And they're like, well, should I go spell power or I should go intellect? Well, Blizzard doesn't have a very high spell power coefficient. While I personally only stack spell power, that's because me like big chunky Frostbolt. Me like big chungus Frostbolt. It makes me go, ooh. Now, it might be more efficient if your main thing is to cast spells that aren't getting these direct spell damage coefficients that Fireball is, that Frostbolt is. I don't have anything for Frost. I'm obviously stacking Fire and playing Fire. It might be more worth it for you to look at what's your mana bar look like. And outside of mana regen, if you really want to try to calculate mana regen, you can. It's a pain in the ass. It's literally just woo-woo bullshit numbers. Don't worry about it. Calculate your mana pool at this. And on top of that, why count on getting relief? Why count on having more than what you can absolutely know you have? So, calculate what you know you have in one mana pool. I have 858 mana, and it's 195 flame strikes, which actually means I do 4. You know? I do 4 flame strikes and it's over. Whatever. That's fine. But you need to look at that and ask, is it worth it for me to have, in my personal opinion, because this is your character, and this is a decision for you to make. Is it worth it for me? Do I want a bigger mana pool, or do I want a higher spell damage? And what you're casting is part of your decision, right? And even if you're casting a spell that doesn't have a high spell damage coefficient, dude, you don't have to min-max spell damage. This fucking stupid bullshit I've been talking about to have a good time in a fucking video game. Right? It's not a bad way. Technically, you only get 0.18% of your spell power on Arcane Explosion, okay? Whatever. Are you having fun? Sick. Are you having a good time? Yeah, that's the only question you should be asking. Anyways, I hope that all that bullshit helped. Spell damage doesn't work the same. It's not the same thing. I'm gonna go back to listen to Old British Dudes rap now. Bye!